Hello YouTube, it is a beautiful day out as you can see. I have my windows and blinds open for the first time this year, super stoked. Nothing gets you motivated like the sun, but today we're going to be working in the fish room, breaking down a few tanks, combining, moving, things like that. So sit back, relax, and let's look at some fish. Alright, so this is the tank I want to deal with first, and it's probably going to take a lot longer than it should for a 20-gallon tank, seeing how there's duckweed. I don't want to transfer that over. I don't even know how many neons are in here, 40 or 50. The Norman's lamp eye killie, if it would focus on them. There's some plecos, the orange seam pleco down there, Corey's down there. We can get a look at potato over here, Chance in the reflection there. Just sitting there. This is my cryptic garden. Well, it has turned into my cryptospiralis garden, I should say. A few guppies floating around in here. Haven't made mealtime yet. Sooner or later they will be food though. And these guys are going to be going to this tank over here. I did a water change in this tank yesterday and I added this huge hang-on back filter to try to get it cleaned up a bit. There's been nothing in this tank for a really long time. So we'll get that hang-on back filter out of there, get a sponge filter in there, and then move everything over. Alright, so we're going to start by just trying to remove most of this by hand. There's also bladderwort in here, riccia, which is another nuisance plant that I'll probably never get again. And just toss it down here into this bucket of nastiness. I hope everyone has at least one bucket they don't clean out, because that would make me feel better. Because that is my one bucket I never clean out. I don't know why. I have like 10 buckets, but this is the one that just stays full of crap. This smells good too. Believe me, it does. Here is a nice clump of the riccia moss I was talking about, which is, to me, nothing but a nuisance plant. It has these little itty bitty stems that break off and just go everywhere. So annoying. Actually, I think all of this is riccia. I don't think there's any bladderwort in here. It definitely has a purpose, but not in this fish tank. It's really good for like shrimp tanks, things like that. I think people, well, I shouldn't even say this, but in my opinion, when you see people scape with this, it's just those scapes that are only up for like a weekend for a contest. Never really anything permanent, and I'm sure I'm gonna have about 100 people message me saying, I use this and my tank's been set up a year. Oh, that's fine. Some Anubias leaves here. Oh man, got some nice runner of chainsword here. The problem is I can't even really transfer this to another tank because I'm just transferring duckweed and riccia over. But I'm just gonna break down Potato's tank anyway, so we're just gonna toss all of these plants over into his tank. Get rid of all these leaves. Another huge clump of riccia. Boy. I actually forgot that I have all this Anubias Nana Petite in here. Whoops. I was supposed to do something with that, now I don't remember. Like most things, I get started on and get distracted and too many projects going on at once. Nice clumps of dwarf chainsword there. You can already see I've transferred the duckweed over. That'll happen. Here's a nice little itty bitty piece of Anubias Nana. Stuff actually all died back, so it's good to see that growing back. A lot of this Anubias Nana Petite. I wonder why I bought so much. What was I going to use this for? I forgot. I'm sure you guys remember more than I do. Nice little cichlid stone here with nothing in it, thankfully. Most of the stuff will be transferring over, well not most, but some of it. I'm going to use these pots actually in my gecko tank, so we'll set those aside. The plants I planted in my gecko terrarium are not doing so hot, so I'm going to have to put them in pots with like Eco Complete, something like that, better substrate. What I used was just for trial, and it didn't work. But now we know, even though I'm sure the internet already knew and all I had to do was Google it, but whatever. This is an empty pot. Oh, one didn't rebound. You can see the dried up rhizome in there. Obviously it's not dry, but you know what I mean. Well, we're almost empty. Ooh, we got one leaf here. We'll give that one a shot. Looks like it's doing okay. Lots of little baby, what is that, Java fern. Plantlets. There goes a, ooh, that's a good size one. I hope that was on camera. Got another pot here. This one's not doing so well, but there's still 3 leaves on there, so we'll keep it. All right, now we got a tank full of nastiness. All right, next step is draining the tank. As most of you know, I use a pump to do all my water change, and I just pump it right out the window into the lawn. That section of the lawn always grows the best. No question as to why. See the Lortoensis corridor right there in the middle. I've slowly been catching these out of here over the last couple months and moving them into my 40 breeder. Because that's where my original colony is, and I got some more to increase that colony. So it looks like I missed one. Oh, 2. Here's one down here as well. Cute little suckers. These are small cories. They stay right at this size, about 1.5 inches, I would say. So a smaller cory, nice polka dots on them. They do get a nice long dorsal fin too, which is cool as long as they don't get, you know, harassed and chewed off. All right, we got the water all the way down here, almost, just a few inches. Get a good look at the orange seam plecos here in the corner. There goes the small one. There is the big one. Got the moose face loaches over here in the corner. Slowly move over here. There are the long skinny guys there. This is a really good look at them. Super amazing fish that you don't see very often. Another one over here in the other corner, but we won't bug it. Now I'm going to get these out of here quickly, just to keep them as least as stressed as possible, so I'm probably not going to film it, because that would just take longer. So I will check back in as soon as everyone has moved over. Alright, I forgot one small detail, and that is the filtration for that other tank. Luckily, I keep all these sponge filters over here, so they'll be nice and cycled, ready to go. Probably transfer a few shrimp over as well. Might as well make it nice and dirty. Oh, this is a huge sponge. Should work out pretty good. Want to make sure there's no plecos hanging on there. Shrimp, not too worried about. They'll easily hang on. And we'll cruise on over. There we go. Sponge filter in place. There are no air bubbles because the pump is turned off for filming to try to make it quieter in here. So as soon as we kick that on, we'll get air. Now you might be wondering about that background. That is blue-green algae that I sprayed with hydrogen peroxide. So that's why it's bubbling like that. Hopefully that'll be gone in a few days. Orange seam pleco checking it out. But back to transferring fish. Alright, so quickly I'll show you. We got all the Corridora Lortoensis moved over, although they've long since hid. Nope, that is not a dead fish. That is a piece of shrimp. They'll eventually find that. You can see the plant growth in here is crazy as always. Although recently we're starting to get some hair algae in here. Oh, here's one over here. There he is. We also have a giant Amano shrimp hanging in here upside down, just hanging loose. Cool to see these guys in here. There's quite a few of them in here. I just never see them for obvious reasons, but apparently I need to get more because I have hair algae. Well, I think we are finally done. I don't see any more fish in here, and that took way longer than I want to admit. But it is never fun moving nano-type fish in large quantities. Always a pain in the butt to catch them, but let's go take a look. So here's everybody moved over. Got the moose face loaches down here, checking out their new digs. Orange seam plecos over there, and of course the Norman's lampi Achilles and the neons. Slowly getting more comfortable. They'll hang out at the bottom until, oh, there's some bladderwort in there. But anyways, they'll hang out at the bottom until they're more comfortable. And I'm not a monster. I'm going to put some hardscape in here and clean off that front glass a little more. And that's what I'm going to do now. So in the middle of all this, I'm doing large water changes. Lots of fish in these small tanks, so they require large water changes. I'm also working on the 75-gallon Lake Tanganyika over here. And also the 55-gallon Lake Tanganyika down here, which I don't think we're gonna see any fish in here till we fill it back up. So I want to show you this real quick as well. The flow in my Lake Tanganyika 75-gallon aquarium was really low, and obviously you can see why. blackbeard algae has covered the intake of the hang-on back filter. So all I'm doing here is soaking the entire thing in hydrogen peroxide. And it is just going to melt this BBA away in no time. So I'm going to let this sit actually for an hour or two, and it'll all melt away and be gone by tomorrow. But I can put it back on the filter today, it'll just be gone by tomorrow. So this is about as fancy as I'm going to get with this tank. I got a piece of wood in there, some dwarf chainsword, a couple small cichlid stones in there, which are these guys here. The fake rocks, caves, whatever. But everyone seems to be adjusting. I'll check back in a few hours. Okay, so while I'm filling up tanks, I figured I'd come over here and show this to you guys. It's been a while, and as you can see, the blackbeard algae is just melting off of here. The water is turning red. If you give it enough time, the blackbeard algae will actually turn red. If you treat blackbeard algae in your tank, if you spot treat it, the next day it'll turn red, and then the next day it'll be dead. So that's basically what's going on here. And I couldn't say, I'm actually pretty happy with the results. Get my water flow back. Alright, we are done with moving fish around and tank maintenance for today. Time to relax a bit. Got a lot done, even though it doesn't look like it. This tank down here I got emptied out as well, except for the longfin white cloud minnows are all that's left. And I think there's a super red bristlenose I missed in there. Of course, there's an orange shrimp right there that I missed. I do keep this lights out right now, trying to get rid of all that duckweed, but in the end it doesn't really matter because this tank's going away. So I'm not sure why I'm doing that, to be honest. And we have this tank here that is clearing up pretty quick. The moose face loaches have been pretty active so far, so that's nice. The orange seam plecos down here, not really afraid of the light. That's cool. They've been out this whole time. There was another one digging around under this piece of wood down here. A 75-gallon lake Tanganyika tank. Still has the bubbles from the water change going on, but you can see the jungle valve better now. Bushy nose pleco. I did not scrape the front of the glass on this tank because I just didn't want to. So there, now you gotta look at it. Alright YouTube, like I said, we are done for the day. I want to thank you for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed yourself somewhat. I know I did. It's always fun getting your hands wet, right? Stay tuned, we got more coming up. The potato, the dragon puffer is probably going away. We're gonna be trimming the bush on that 40-gallon breeder over there, and we got another 40-gallon breeder to take down. So we got a lot going on, so definitely subscribe if you're not, and I'll see everyone next time.